Hey everybody, this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. A shout out to drone enthusiasts everywhere, and of course a shout out to all my friends at the Drone Seekers. If you haven't checked out the Drone Seekers yet, you ought to do it. Check out their YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below, and they also have a Facebook page. I'll put a link to that as well. I got another friend that I'd like you to check out. That is the Parks and Tech YouTube channel, Josh over there. He's just getting his channel going, and he does some really good job reviewing a bunch of different birds, and very enthusiastic and some interesting stuff, so I think it's worth your while to check that out. Hey, so today I want you to know I'm making this introduction after I've already done the flight. I tried making the introduction out in the field, or in fact I did, and I had an issue with the camera. I don't think I had the lens fully extended, and it came out blurry, so hence we're doing it right here at the house. But the Fimi X8 SE. So we had another firmware update for this guy, and so I want to give Fimi credit where credit is due. You know, this has been a problematic drone for a lot of people, but they've been continually improving it, and they're getting those issues worked out. I mean, Kolsky drones had a flyaway, mine had a defective prop. I know that Duranify, his had a control issue and it flew into a mud bank. A lot of people have had some issues with this product, but they seem to be continually improving it and trying to solve that. So I think that's important. But without going too far down that road, I just want to tell you what the changelog says. So what it says here is, and these changelogs are always a little bit mysterious, but they're saying with the flight control, they're optimizing flight control in fixed wing mode, and then they're optimizing the gimbal view in parallel follow. So that follow mode, I can't remember what Fimi calls their tracking modes, but they do tell you that it's in beta, so you understand that it's not going to be perfect. And then the gimbal, they say that they optimize the gimbal view in fixed wing mode and around point mode. So anyway, in the flight I tried some of that stuff out, and so you'll see that. Oh, I should also add that we went from the numbers, we went from, let me put on my glasses here because I can't read without them, I'm old. I went from flight control 1054E to 1055I, that's the version number, and then the gimbal from 1017A to 1018B, if that matters. But in any case, let me, I did do a screen recording of that upgrade process, so we'll roll that right now. Yeah, that took just a second, so that took no time at all. And by the way, I'm at home connected to Wi-Fi while I'm doing this. And yeah, it says download complete, so let's enter device. And it gives us the firmware update, so acknowledgement screen or a little dialog box. So let's update, clicking on update. And so it gives us the same list of the change list here, which is kind of not exactly easy to figure out, but let's start updating. So I'm clicking starting updating. Interesting, now it says downloading, and 50% it's updating the flight control. Boy, this is pretty darn quick. So the drone is doing its alternative beeping like it does when it's doing an update. You gotta hand it to Fimi. This is a lot easier to do on this drone than it is on, say, the Hubsan Xeno. Xeno, you kind of have to jump through a few hoops, but they make it pretty seamless on the Fimi X8 SE. And it also says to update batteries one by one. I've only got one battery, so I'd say we're in good shape there. But it's interesting that then they want you to, if you have a second battery, they're asking you to put it in there and update it. Yeah, there we go. update complete. So I'm going to click update completed. Yeah, and that takes us back to the home screen and see what it says. So it says everything is normal. You know, compass, magnetic environment, IMU, battery, normal. And then lastly, the gimbal is normal, so that's good. And let's check the firmware versions here. I can remember where to do that. Firmware update, yeah, there it is. So I'm going to do a screenshot of this so I can compare it to the previous one, and I can see what has changed. But 1055i, I think it was 1055a before. So anyway, I will look through those. I always take a screenshot and I'll compare it with the old one, and I'll tell you what changes I see. Okay, you saw that. It wasn't too difficult. Pretty straightforward. They make it easy, and that's another thing I'll say for Fimi, as opposed to like the Hubsan Zeno. The Zeno, one of my favorite drones. The upgrade process, firmware upgrade process, is much more involved on this. Fimi's done a good job of making it pretty easy. So all of that said, you know, the only thing we can do now is get it up and fly it. So I'm not gonna have the first part of the flight video with this Canon M50. So what you'll see is the screen recording and obviously the video recording from the drone itself. But then about, I don't know, halfway through, I figured out that the camera wasn't recording, well, I discovered the issue with the camera and the focus, and then, hey, I'm only human. I don't think I started it recording, and then I noticed that later on. So then I hit the record button. More information than you really wanted, I know. But anyway, about halfway through, you'll see some video from the Canon M50 as well. But in any case, let's quit messing around. Let's show you that flight. Alright, I've got the drone fired up and it looks like we're ready to go. Drone status here, you can see that everything appears to be normal. So I guess there's nothing left to do but put the bird in the air. I am going to start recording. Let's look at our settings here just for the fun of it. Yeah, white balance is on sunny, color is on general, and we're in 4K 30 frames per second, so that's good. Let's start recording, and yeah, let's put her in the air. I think the first thing we'll do is one of the things that I have been told to do, and I think it's a good idea, is when you take off, you always want to test your drone's return to home and make sure that it knows where home is. So let's do an auto takeoff here. Yeah, you can see the drone there. Auto takeoff. Yeah, so there it is. It's up about 13 feet in the air, which is normal for this drone. We'll just leave it sit there for a second so it gets that downward facing camera gets a good look at the landing pad. And I don't know, let's do our usual. Let's bring the drone in here and let you take a look at it with the camera. Hang on here. We'll just bring her right in. Yeah, for some reason here. Okay, that's better. For some reason we were out of focus there. I don't know what was going on. So I'll probably edit a bunch of that out. But anyway, let's bring the drone in here. So this is I do this to show how stable this thing is. Although as soon as I said that, it started moving in, and we had a little breeze come up. So yeah, I'm having to correct it. Little breeze. So let's yaw it around here. And it's kind of moving around as it yaws there a little bit. So anyway, let's back it up here. It's moving around there a little bit, so let's back it up. Let's just do that reverse up and away shot here. So reverse, and we'll get some altitude. It was kind of moving around underneath the canopy here. I was fully underneath the canopy with it, so it could have been blocking a little GPS, etc. So let's take a look. You can see the grid lines in particular on my screenshot, and you can see that the initially there in particular, the horizon is a little bit crooked. You know, it's not terrible, and look at it, it's kind of slowly straightening itself out there. So that's kind of interesting. I still, you know, I like a nice flat horizon, and that's not something that you even have to worry about, even on cheaper drones like the Xeno. But anyway, so we're out there far enough. Let's try that return to home, and we can try precision landing. Let me look and make sure that precision landing is engaged, and yes, it is. Just wanted to make sure. Let's whoops, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and hit return to home. So the drone is coming on back. It's already at sufficient return to home height. And just for the fun of it, you don't need to, but we're going to drop the gimbal just so we can see what's going on here and see how close it is. And if it looks like it's going to hit the top of the picnic shelter here or something, we'll cancel it. And that's typical. It says landing pad not detected. When it's this high, it doesn't detect it. But let's see if as it gets lower. I mean, you can see it's a little off. It's not going to hit the building, but it's coming down. It may see it yet, so I'm not going to cancel return to home till we know for certain. Yeah, so it's not going to do it. So I canceled it there at the last minute. Let me pick the camera back up. You'll see me standing there. So yeah, it didn't, you know, it's hovering, well, let's see if you can, yeah, you can see it on the camera there. It's hovering, I don't know, a couple feet away. To me, that's perfectly acceptable. You know, return to home, if it's within a few feet of where it took off, hey, who can kick about that? I think that's just fine. Anyway, let's back it up and take off again. Man, I'll tell you, every time I fly this drone, I am always struck at how quick and powerful it is. I mean, it's just a fast drone. In that regard, it reminds me a lot of the Mavic 2. And it's the controls are really nice on it. It's very easy to control. There again, as I yacht around, you can see a little bit of a crooked horizon. It's not horrible, but at the far, it's evened out now. But at the start there, it was a little bit crooked. Anyway, so I think what we should do now is run out to our usual field here that I take all my drones out into, and you know, check and see how good our connection is. We're at about 180 feet, so full pitch forward. And by the way, like I said, it is about 90 degrees. I have not seen any drone overloaded warnings yet, so I am full pitch forward. So, you know, maybe we'll get some now. It is so gratifying. Yeah, there we got that drone overloaded. So anytime you give this guy much throttle, you're going to get that. And you see that line right up there where it says in-flight GPS? That tells you I don't know if that's RPMs, but it tells you how hard those motors are working. I don't know exactly if that measures how much power is getting put to them or what. I don't know. But so I'm yawing over here. We're going to shoot for the corner of the field, and let's go out there a ways. I think it's a good idea to heed that warning when you see that drone overloaded. Boy, I mean, the last thing you'd ever want to do would be to burn up an ESC or a motor or something like that. So definitely heed those warnings if you see them flying this drone. And in my experience, it's always throttle related. It's definitely temperature related. I didn't see it as much in cooler temperatures. In fact, earlier in the spring, the only time I'd ever seen it was flying in sport mode. So you can see also the signal indicators there. The FPV is yellow, although the screen looks good. Yeah, so I'm not going to go any further than the corner of the field here, but that's really gratifying. I know others have had range issues. Man, it's working great. Well, now there, just then you saw it blank out a little bit. Yeah, and it says returning home. So all of a sudden, I just hit a brick wall there, and and I'm pointed straight at it with the remote. But fail-safe return, which is great. That's exactly what you want the drone to do. Also, you notice that at the top there, it gives you it tells you what the GPS readings are when it does that. So I didn't happen to notice how many feet we were out there, but we must have been about 3,200 feet, something like that. And here she comes, coming back at a pretty good clip, about 20 miles an hour. So you know what? No complaints. That's exactly what you want the drone to do when you get in a situation like that. You want that baby to come home. Now, I could cancel it if I wanted to. In other words, if I was out someplace filming something and I wanted to stay out there at distance, simply at the bottom of right-hand side of the screen there, you just would get out, click that X and get out of fail-safe return, and you could proceed doing whatever you were doing there. So yeah, no kicks for me. I mean, that's at least a full kilometer out that far. I know some people expect more range than that. I'm in an urban environment. A kilometer is about as far as almost I'm ever going to want to go. There may be certain situations you might want to go a little farther, but not very many. So here it comes. I'm going to drop the gimbal here just a tad as we come in, and we'll give that precision landing another shot. That's always fun. So let's see where we're at. We're down to about 58% battery, so we'll probably try circle mode after that, and then we'll try some of those follow me modes and see if we notice any differences. There's some concerns about this drone. Everybody, my issues were well publicized. When my first flight, when I had the prop blow up on it, there was a screw missing out of a prop. But now recently, Kolsky Drones had a flyaway with his, and Kolsky is a top-notch flyer. Yeah, let's see, landing pad not detected. So that's a concern, and we'll see how Fimi takes care of him. Hopefully they'll send him another drone. Yeah, so it looks like it's a little off, but let's give it a shot here, man. Come on, I got high hopes. It's close enough. Yeah, maybe. No, it's not going to do it. We're going to cancel. So I canceled at the last minute there, picking the camera back up. So you guys saw that. Okay, so let's back it off here. And we'll do let's do a circle. So I am going to go into I'm going to get some altitude because I want to make sure we clear everything. And I'm going to go into intelligent flight modes here. It's that little Android looking thing at the bottom, and orbit. And let's see, so we need to set the central point, and then I believe we fly away from it before we can start. So So I am going to come back to us. Well, that was a little further than I wanted to go, but that's good. We're going to call that, we're going to set that as the center. And then I'm going to pick the camera back up and back it off. That's about right. Let's center the camera on the building. And radius. So we set the radius. Let's speed it up. It's going to go clockwise. We want the heading center. And let's speed it up pretty quick. Let's put it up about 10 miles an hour. And we're going to go. And, oh, there it goes. Okay, just took it a second to get started. For some reason, the Canon camera shut down here, so that's... I don't know how much we missed there, but we'll still have the screen recording here for audio. But yeah, I mean, it's doing it fine, and it's right on that center that we picked. Yeah, looks good. That's a success, although I'd say I don't really remember having a problem with it before. So let's see if it stops when it gets to its initial point. I don't think it does. I think it'll just keep going until you tell it to stop. Yeah, it does. So we took it out of that. So now let's bring it down and let's try some follow me modes. So I'm going to leave the Canon on, but you won't see me. Well, maybe I can point it out to the field here. Yeah, let's point it out to the field. Maybe you can see me walking around. Okay, so that should be plenty close enough. I'm kind of in the shade here. We'll do Smart Track, which, by the way, they do say it's in beta, so no reason to expect perfection. I appreciate it when they tell you it's beta, because then you know that it's just a work in progress. So let's try lock first. I just changed my. Let's try lock, and what that should do is it should just keep the camera. The drone should not move, I believe, and it. Well, or I think you could even fly the drone, but it's like cameraman, I believe, with the Anafi. So go. What did it say? Pitch angle is too high. So I don't know what that means exactly. Pitch angle is too high, it says. Pitch angle is too high. Guys, I don't even know. I don't know. It's not letting me change gimbal. So I'm just backing it off and let's see what happens. Yeah, pitch angle is too high. I'm not sure what that means. Let's bring it in closer. And what I'll say is it still has got me. Pitch angle is too high. Gosh, guys, I am not sure. I just don't know what that means. So we're gonna call that one a bust. Yeah, I'm not sure what we were doing wrong there. So back into Smart Track again, and let's get a little more altitude. I like to have plenty of altitude when you're walking around. And profile, so I should be able to then move it around me. So there, it's got me. We're going to click go. And it does seem to do that just fine. It's weird. It's like the drone is is flying over the top of me, and I'm not exactly sure why. Yeah, so I could clearly walk out of the screen there. So the drone is following me now, but it's not exactly profile. And if I'd have kept going the other way, I would have walked out from under it. So interesting. Let's see if I can fly it out. Yeah, so okay, so I flew it away from me a little bit. Let's see what happens if I walk towards it. It doesn't push it back. Yeah, and there it lost me. Yeah, Spark Track mission completed. So yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. We're gonna have to do a little more work on that. So let's go into trace. Like I said, this is beta, so what they're telling you,
low
so
battery.
trace your target
Please
from
land
different
ASAP
views.
to
Yeah, it's
avoid
giving me low
damaging.
battery warnings. We'll try this real quick. Yeah, and it's following me, and then I'll walk towards it. I should be able to push it back. Yeah, that seems to work just fine. Let's see, what's our battery at? I'm kind of, yeah, we're at 27% battery. We're good. We're not far from our takeoff point. Yeah, we'll walk back towards the, and it seems to be following me fine. I remember last time, and there again, I don't know if it optimized the gimbal to keep me in the center, but this is perfect. It's keeping me exactly in the center here. So that may be what that update was all about. And I have to say they did a good job, because you look at the grid lines, it's keeping me right within that center grid. So perfect. So we've got the different modes on the left side there. Last time I tried to switch, it kind of freaked out, but let's try it. Yeah, so it just said Smart Track mission completed. So yeah, so clearly whatever that is doesn't seem to work. Okay, I'm gonna get back in the shade here. It's hot today. Drone is complaining of a low battery. Okay, I don't know how much of that you guys were able to see on the Canon, but let's get the camera reoriented so we can see the landing pad. There we go. Stand off to the side here a little bit. Oh gosh, pick up the camera here so you can see where we're at. 21% battery. Let's see. Let's go back and up a little bit. And I wonder if, yeah, it's 19% and it hasn't clicked into auto RTH. So you see on the left side of the screen there at the top, the battery meters, it slides along. I suspect when it hits that H is when it would do an auto RTH, but I don't want to run the battery that low, so we'll just bring it home and we'll give another shot at precision landing here. You know, they continue to improve this drone. I'm going to kick the camera up here so we can look at horizon a little bit. So, you know, it's a little bit crooked there, but that's perfectly acceptable. That's not far off at all. So let's drop the camera. Landing pad not detected. And there again, I really don't want to let it mow the grass, so we won't do that. And it looks like it's going to be sufficiently off, but let's give it every chance here. We'll let it get pretty low before we shut it down. It's kind of moving. Okay, it's not going to do it. I'm having to, yeah, it wants to land. Okay, there we got our landing. It was manual, but we got our landing right on the pad. But that was interesting. It was wanting to come down, and I was pushing the stick up, and it wouldn't gain any altitude. It was staying right there, I don't know, about a foot off the ground where I canceled RTH. But there again, this drone, it's cool that it shuts off video for you automatically when it lands. Let me get everything shut down here and stand in front of the camera here. That might help. Let me get everything shut down here and we'll do a quick conclusion. Pretty cool little drone, I gotta say. You know, for 400 bucks, man, hard to beat. Okay guys, I'm going to stay in the shade here because it's frickin' hot in the direct sun. I see we must have hit a few bees or something. I see a little bit of insect pieces on the drone. So oh yeah, then look at this. Let's see if we can get this on the screen. If we look at this particular blade, it definitely chopped up some kind of a bug. Also this one too. Yeah, the insects, the bees get kind of freaked out at the noise that these drones make. So unfortunately this was death to a few insects. So first I want to say that when I picked it up, I noticed a lot of heat underneath and the motors are hot. Now that is not unexpected, right? It's a hot day and we were working the drone pretty hard. So I just say that just to kind of give you some information on what you'll find if you fly one of these. You know, when I was flying it earlier in the year on cooler days, I didn't notice that, but I sure do on these warmer days. I think we had a successful flight today, I'd say. There was nothing unexpected there. I think they did improve the way the gimbal tracks you. When we did the trace, I believe it was, in active track, I always forget what they, you know, every drone manufacturer has a different name for their tracking. But anyway, it kept me right in the center of the screen. Perfect. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. I still do not understand the profile function. I'm not sure. When I engaged that, it kept coming closer till it got right over the top of me. So maybe there's a way to adjust it at how it looks at you. I am not sure. That's something I'll have to investigate a little bit more and figure out. But that didn't seem to work very well, at least for me. And then also, God, what was the other? What do they call the other one? Not camera mode is what they call it, or cameraman is what they call it on the Anafi. But in any case, it's the version that it's supposed to the drone stays in place and keeps the camera on the subject. Now you can still manually fly it. So for instance, if you were chasing a moving subject, what that would do for you is the camera would stay focused on that subject, and then you could focus on flying the drone and you're not having to move the gimbal around and mess around with the camera. It kept giving me a message that the pitch angle was too high, and I don't know, it wouldn't let me change the gimbal angle, and I moved the drone in and out and it didn't seem to change it. So I mean, I'm sure it was probably something I was doing wrong. I'm just not sure what it is. Then distance-wise, we took it clear out to the end of that field out there, which is over 1 kilometer. Boom, we're in an urban environment. Wow, I was really happy about that. We did lose connection when we got way out there, clear out there to the corner. But the drone did exactly, it instantly went into return to home, which is exactly what you want it to do. You want it to come back, so I was happy about that. When we did the circle mode, I had the center of the circle, the top of the picnic shelter here, and it kept it right in the center of the screen, so I'm sure that's part of it. The horizon, it's still a little bit off, and I know I'm probably oversensitive to it. It bugs me a little bit. It's way better than it used to be. It used to really be bad, so it's way better. So thank you, Fimi. I appreciate the work you've done on that. And really, I'm going to say it's good enough. You know, it was not that far off that it's going to give you any kind of big problems. So yeah, you know, they keep improving this guy, and that's great. And you know, for the dollars, man, what an amazing product. The only downside I'm going to say is there have been several people that have had issues with this drone. Kolsky Drones comes to mind. You know, he lost his recently on a flyaway for no apparent reason. His screen blanked out, so that's a concern. I'll be following his channel to see how that's resolved. I know Duranify had an issue with his that I don't know if it was, he seemed to think it was some kind of compass error or something. Pardon me. But he was flying it back in, and he lost, I think he was going to do a hand catch, and he lost control, and it flew right into a mud bank. Didn't hurt the drone, so he came out of that okay. And then my friend Gorilla Man up in Canada, his problems are well publicized. He had all kinds of problems with his. The one that broke the camel's back is he kept getting excessive vibration errors, and then, you know, telling him to land the drone immediately. But kudos to Fimi, they replaced his drone. He sent his drone back, and they sent him another one. But I know he's done some testing lately where he's had some range problems and so forth. So you know, those are, I'm just telling you that so that, you know, if you're thinking about buying this guy, go look at all those channels and see everybody's experience. And then, you know, I've got a long list of videos that I've done with this guy too. But in conclusion, today's flight was great. I got no complaints at all. I think we had one drone overloaded warning, and as soon as I backed off the throttle, it was fine. So really, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of video, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you know when a new video comes out. And most of all, I say it every time, but I really mean it, thank you for watching, because I know, you know, the time out of your day is worth something, and looking at this video, I appreciate it. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next one.